Shall we just ask them to join us?
Yeah,
Is it
let's
good
do
idea?
that first.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right. We have some special members, special guests, and they will be joining us, watching the documentary as well. And we have a special surprise for them as well.
The first guest is Jenny WININGS.
All right. And then we have Josephine ZOHNY.
And then the third one, Danny Wu.
And then we have the great honor announcing TAJ JACKSON. I would like to invite TAJ, Jenny, Danny, and Josephine to take a seat. We're going to give you the chance to ask all kinds of questions about the documentary. I wanted you to ask, be brief in your question. Don't thank us enough for them getting here and over to share their story, because they all feel the love and the applause, I think. So that's not necessary for each time to say thank you like 100 times. So we can save time for you to give you a chance to ask your real questions, and that saves us time. After the Q&A session, we will make a group picture, and also this will be streamed live. The pictures, we will put them on a website called jacksonsource.com, where they connect their Facebook page. We will publish the photos, so you can find it over there. Afterwards, we're pretty busy because we have a big radio program. They have a special for an hour. So you can listen to even more stories and beautiful music by Michael. Also, we have, for the people that stay here, and when you're hungry, it's possible to go to the bakery cafe. When you exit here, you go to the right. They have a special offer for fans if you show your wristband. Same goes for McDonald's. They even gave 10%. It's a bit controversial subject, I know, but we tricked them into give 10% discount and free sauce. So. You would never. I would have never believed that I would actually do this. What? It should have been KFC. Yeah, it should have been. But anyway, we have a great Q&A leader here. Yesterday we had a meeting at a very good school of journalism in Utrecht, and we talked about trial by media. And I will introduce you to Brian, who will lead our Q&A. Give him a warm applause. Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Panel guests. I noticed when I came in here that you all sat in the back and watched the film again. So I'm going to go first to the filmmaker, Danny. How was it sitting in the dark looking at your documentary for probably the 1000th time, of course? But is there something new that you took out of your own film?
Well, no, we're not. We don't take things out of their film. We add things in. You know, this is the first time that the new cut has been shown. Obviously, there were some rendering problems, but don't worry about that. It's just for the location. And you know, this is the first time. You know, every other premiere I went to, as soon as I got in, they got a seat for me in the front. So this was the first time that I can watch it from like a watchable distance. And yeah, I've seen it a lot of times, so I don't.
Right.
Another time.
And one of the so I teach documentary, and one of the questions I ask my own students is, who are you making it for? Who's the ideal audience member or public for this film?
Right. The public, the ideal audience for this film is the people who are stuck in between. I was asked a question that was similar yesterday in your lecture. Someone asked me, why would I make this film just to try to convince everyone that Michael Jackson is innocent? However, I don't believe that to be the case. I don't care what you come away with this film. You know, for people who watch Leaving Neverland, who believe that he's guilty, I think it's only doing your due diligence by learning about the other side of the story, reading the court depositions, and after everything, if you still believe he's guilty, then that's your own decision. But what TAJ has been advocating since the beginning was for people to read about the other side of the story. So this is what it is about.
TAJ, do you think this film presents the other side of the story in an accurate and clear manner? Are you satisfied with the result? Are there some things that you think might still be missing, or you'd like to see in a follow-up?
This was my first time seeing the new cut of it, the added. And I've done this in the past. I've always thanked Danny for doing this. And I was getting kind of emotional watching this. I remember the first time I watched it, it was the same. But I'm just super thankful that he put this together, because I see my uncle in this, and I see him fighting for his, you know, justice through Danny, and I'm very proud of this piece.
You might have gotten this question before, but not from me. What do you think, if your uncle's sitting next to you, what would he have thought of the film?
He would have loved it. He would have loved it.
Why?
Danny's, you know, there's something about his fans were his energy, and seeing someone fight for him that's not blood in that way, but is so determined, he would have loved it. He would have been so proud of it, and he would have been so thankful for it.
Josephine, you play a pretty big role in the film as well. Was there a moment where you hesitated because you have a career in the music industry, and that there might be some blowback or some unfortunate publicity, where you thought, well, I don't know if I'm going to participate? And was there a moment like that? And
well, is this on?
No.
Is this one on? Yes. So when Leaving Neverland first came out, I was getting a lot of questions on Twitter asking me why I wasn't going on TV to talk about, you know, X, Y, and Z. And you know, in the frenzy after that film aired, I was a little nervous because I do have a career, and it's a career where I'm dealing with people who are public facing. So there was, there was a little bit of hesitation. But, you know, once I saw Danny's interview with TAJ and Brandy, and I understood how clear-minded he was and fair-minded, I felt that if I was going to speak to anybody, I would speak to him.
Okay. When was the last time you actually spoke to another sort of important character in the film, Jordan? Yeah.
Not since, gosh, 2003, yeah. Very long time. Once I was out of the music business program, and he's disappeared off the face of the planet, really.
What does that mean, disappeared? Like he's not on social media?
Well, as far as I know, he's not on social media.
Right.
I haven't been trying to track him. But
okay.
In 2000, I know the fall of 2003, he was in school, but I don't believe he came back for spring of 2004. Mm-hmm. So
you haven't spoken to him since
fall, since 2003.
And did you try to get in touch with him, Danny?
Right, I would love to.
Three microphones.
Okay.
Set this one down.
Yeah.
We can give that one to Jenny.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I would love to have a chance to speak with Jordan, but the reason that this film is so important was because Jordan Chandler has never come out before. Every time he's been, people have attempted to depose him, he would flee the country. So having someone who personally knew Jordan Chandler and was in the same class with him and interacted with him to come out on a stage like this is quite a big ask, and just always grateful, forever grateful that she decided to come out.
Okay, great. So my last question for this panel before we hand everything over to you guys is to you, Jenny. There was a lot of, a part of the film really reconstructed all that media hype around the trial in that period. Could you take us briefly back to that time? Did the film accurately portray the craziness, the tabloid journalism that you experienced?
Yeah, I didn't go to California for the trial until the verdict because I wasn't sure if I was on the witness list, so I wasn't sure if they were going to use me in the trial. So I went there. I think I flew in the day before the verdict and was there for a few days, which that was the crazy. I mean, yes, it was exactly like it portrayed. I remember watching the news during that period, and it was terrible. It was just.
What do you mean by terrible? Can you elaborate?
I would say like 95% of the media was just guilty from the beginning. They didn't care what anyone was saying in the court. It was guilty, guilty, guilty. And it was just very frustrating because if you were reading, or I had friends that were in the courtroom almost every day, and what they were saying was said was completely different than what the media was saying was said. And it was just
a circus.
Yeah, it really was. And I mean, verdict day, yes, it was, I mean, a relief, but everyone probably knows, you know, what he looked like walking in and out of court, and you just wanted to, yes, it was a relief, but everybody, I think, it was also very, very sad. I mean, he was emotionally drained, physically drained. Right. It was just, yeah, it's a very hard time.
Thanks for sharing. So let's open up the floor to discussion.
Before we go into the floor for the discussion, okay. I have a surprise, but I need to find out if I can make the connection, because I had someone from Moscow who wanted to call and ask a question. And hopefully it will work technically. So I'll give him a call now.
In like the government, or who are we?
Mr.
Who are we talking about?
Mr. Putin himself.
Yeah.
We wish.
Okay.
So this will be interesting. You never know who's picking up the phone. Hello. I will put you on the speaker, and you can ask your question. Shall I introduce yourself?
From Moscow. It's Shawnee, the founder of MDA Innocent.
This is Shawnee, the founder of MDA Innocent.
Hi, Shawnee.
So speak up a little bit if you can.
Okay, can everybody hear me okay?
Oh, wait, dude, that's good. I think that worked.
Maybe the other mic?
Is everybody able to hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, super. How are you all? Everybody good? Yeah. I take that as a yes. Yes. Okay, so I can't really hear anything, so I'm going to try and read out a question that I wrote earlier, and I hope that you can hear me. So just one more time, can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So, I have a question, and I'm going to direct it to everybody involved in the movie. And the question is this. Okay? Can you hear me? Yeah?
Go on. Ask your question. We're waiting.
Okay. The public loves a comeback story of any kind. I personally feel that a successful way of getting a mass majority of people to understand one person's own turmoil and persecution is to help them develop empathy and the willingness to identify with the individual struggles and or demons. To some, Michael Jackson was an unworldly figure and unidentifiable. But he was also a human being. How will you overcome that obstacle in your future production in helping viewers sympathize with Michael, whilst at the same time not appearing to be biased? With love, from a genital disappearing coldness in Moscow, and in solidarity, Shawnee.
Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, Shawnee.
Yep.
Did we get the question? Anyone wants to say?
Question?
Yeah. I realized just being the nephew of Michael Jackson, and for my project, I'm not even calling it a documentary anymore, because I think after doing research and listening to the message boards, and I know that just being his nephew, people are going to say it's biased. No matter what I say, no matter how many people on the other side are talking, they're just going to say, oh, well, he's a family member, it's biased. So my project has changed in the way that the best way I can represent my uncles for people that don't know him to get to know him. And the best way to get to know Michael Jackson is through people that knew him best. And so it's changed a little, but it's also, in terms of like the 93 allegations and stuff like that, it's more about what were the people around him who talked to him, what was he feeling like, or what was he like, and using footage as well, home videos and home movies and stuff like that, getting to know what this man went through. And Danny's done a great job already with certain things, but you know, I was there when I saw the Singapore thing. I was there that day, and then also the Northridge earthquake. He was staying over our house that day and the day before, which it's weird because you start putting things in context. It's like he knew the weight of the world was. I didn't know the weight of the world was on his shoulders that day, but he chose to stay over our house and hang out with us. And now I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, wow, you know, maybe he just needed a friend. Maybe he just needed someone, you know, that didn't want anything from him. And that was me and my brothers. And so it was just weird. I hadn't even thought about that the first time. I think did you add that, or was that always there? The Northridge earthquake, and then it was always there, yeah. But this is the first time that I kind of clicked two and two together. So, but yeah, I'm not even worried about that anymore, because there's been 30 years of media lies, and it's time for people to know who Michael Jackson truly was.
So who would like to ask a question to any of our panel guests?
Does this work?
Hi. I guess I'll do that now.
Hi.
Hello.
Danny, what was the biggest challenge you came up with this that documentary?
The biggest challenge, I think, is just you know, putting together a timeline that would make sense, not just for the fans, but also for the general public, that if they watch this without any knowledge of the previous allegations, they would be able to follow along. So, you know, throughout the process of making this documentary, we've changed around the interviews many times, trying to just find a narrative that fits. And luckily, Mr. Thompson, Charles Thompson, was kind enough to be interviewed by me, and he kind of just gave it a coherent direction to go to kind of just follow along. And I'll be forever grateful for his willingness to join this project. And I think other than that, you know, it's just basic stuff, trying to find a time to interview people. You know, I think Taj can probably relate to that as well. You know, scheduling interviews and hoping that people don't get cold feet, so stuff like that.
Well, thank you.
Question back there.
Can you
Gentlemen.
please come to the aisle, and then we give you the microphone? Of we hold the microphone. Please tell your name and where you're from.
Hi, my name is Anna. I'm from Germany. I would like to know if you have any plans how you're gonna show this glorious masterpiece to the rest of the world, because I think everybody needs to know.
I agree.
Thank you for your question. Obviously, the original cut for Square One, which is a much rougher cut, that is on YouTube already at square1mj.com. This newer cut, we're gonna wait a bit, trying to make it even cleaner, and then we're gonna have it stream on a bigger platform, on a bigger streaming platform. Thank you.
Question over here, the lady in red, or there's one more back there. Lady in red.
Oh, toch.
Okay, and then.
Can you come please here and tell your name? Take your time.
Hi, my name is Iris. There's a lot of information in your movie, and I was wondering if you can elaborate on the relationship between Evan Chandler and Victor Gutierrez a little bit, because that was, I feel like that's a bombshell that, you know, wasn't prominent enough.
Right, exactly. You know, Victor Gutierrez, obviously I don't want to say anything in the documentary that can't be provable. You know, we don't want to start a conspiracy out there making connections that aren't there. But all I can say, just like this documentary, is that Victor Gutierrez was connected to Evan Chandler during the time of the allegations, and Victor Gutierrez was someone who was connected to NAMBLA as well.
Question?
Hello, my name is Pamela from Buffalo, New York. And you guys are even more handsome in person, oh my gosh. But I wanted to ask if there's any plans for a follow-up in light of the Leaving Neverland situation. Is there going to be any follow-up documentary debunking those allegations?
Okay. Yeah, from my perspective, you know, when I was starting to do research about this and kind of jumping to the side of, believing Michael Jackson was innocent, you know, there were already many YouTube documentaries that were debunking Leaving Neverland, such as Neverland Firsthand. You know, people found many inconsistencies, such as in Liza Leaving Neverland as well. So I just thought that when reading the comments, everything went back to, oh, why did he pay the boy $20 million? You know, that's what it always goes back to. It always goes back to square one. So from my perspective, it would just give people more context to shed light on to the original allegation. And, you know, so that's why I didn't really focus on Leaving Neverland, because this isn't a rebuttal documentary. This is something that is completely different. And, you know, we never talk about the Leaving Neverland accusers, and I'm sure that TAJ is also making a documentary coming up in the following year.
Okay, we have actually, oh yeah, so you can respond to the question after.
Yeah, just real quick. Last year in January, when I went on the UK promo thing for all the interviewing and all that stuff, I was very aware of like what Wade and James had said and stuff like that, and would I do a rebuttal and all that stuff. It's very hard for me because that's exactly what Wade wants to be relevant. And the only way Wade is relevant is if you tie his name to Michael Jackson. And honestly, I don't believe he deserves that. I don't want, the thing I'm doing, I want that to last for generations, for hundreds of years. And I don't even want to give him that satisfaction to be tied to Michael Jackson. I want him to be forgotten. And when January last year, I had faith that the truth is going to come out, and months later, through you guys and doing your research and posting stuff, it's a completely different atmosphere. And I truly believe this year they're going to get exposed even more. So I don't want to be a year behind. I want to be a year ahead.
Okay, but then after her. First you, then me. Sorry.
Hello, I'm Mira from Finland. I would just like to ask Danny if you have been able to get any media coverage for this, because it seems very difficult. So what is your experience about that?
You know, in the U.S., we didn't really do a press release. You know, we didn't do stuff like that, and there were a couple articles covering it, but it didn't really get onto the mainstream news. But that also may be the lack of trying on our part.
If it was negative, it would have. Trust me.
Yeah, probably. but in Holland, me and TAJ, we have done around, how many interviews have we done? Like 3? Yeah, we've done like 3 TV interviews already, and a radio station interview coming up. We're getting better luck here, I guess.
Don't forget about China, all of the media you
Yeah,
did.
true.
Yeah.
You know, in China, when we premiered Square One, the national news actually came to do an article on it, and it was actually very, very fair. And so, completely forgot about that. Thanks.
And what Taj said, everyone knows it's true, and I said this earlier, but in Ohio, in my local news, I talked to them 5 times after Michael passed. I was at LA, they wanted to talk to me about everything. And then earlier, well, I guess it's 2020, so last year, I tried to contact them locally just to get my side of the story out from being around Gavin and Michael, and nobody responded to me. They never wrote me back, they never emailed me, they never, nothing, because they don't want to hear this side of it. So we try, but we can only do so much, and if nobody responds, it's very frustrating, but. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go to you.
Okay. Hi, Taj. Hi, Danny. Hi, Jenny.
Josephine and Jenny.
Oh, hi, Jenny. Hi, Josephine.
It's good. It's okay. It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
We don't
I'm
need
so
names.
sorry.
It's fine.
I'm a little nervous here.
No,
Okay.
breathe. It's fine.
First of all, my name is Paige, and I live in Germany, but I'm originally from California. And my question is, do you believe that that soon, like, what is your guess of the timeline until we'll see a full vindication of your uncle?
That's hard to say. You know, I don't want to make a guess, but at the same time, when Leaving Neverland hit, I was probably one of the only few people not to panic in that way, because I just had faith in that. I knew, and it wasn't, the funny thing is everyone was so worried about, I wasn't worried about his music, because to me, Michael Jackson was the person. It was the humanitarian, and that's what I was more worried about than anything. So I honestly believe that 2020 is going to be a changing year, but there's always those that hate him, you know, and they want him to be guilty. So it's like, there's always going to be that. And I do believe, and I've said this on Twitter, that I think the majority of the people of the world know that Leaving Neverland's a lie. I just think that they're scared to come out because of the times and the movements and stuff like that. But if you talk to them privately, and many people have come up to me privately, it's a different story. So there's more of us than them, is what I said in the Twitter, and it's true.
Hi, I'm Lily Jackson, and I'm coming from Ireland, originally Estonian. I just wanted to ask about the 93 allegations that, sorry, I'm still sick, do you know if the gag order from has been lifted for Jordan Chandler? He had it on.
Yeah. I don't know if it's been lifted. I've heard contradicting stories. It's one of the things that I am going to try and find out. I would love for Jordy to talk to me.
That's
yeah. I mean, that would be the pie in the sky.
But that could be as well that, you know, has anybody seen the court documents, you know, when the gag orders was you know, what says how long, or at least that what's, you know, after if he is able to talk?
I'm hoping someone has that information. I don't have that information yet. And the hard thing about Jordy is just you don't want to scare him off. That's the thing. It's like really delicate in that way. I truly believe I mean, if he's talking to other people and saying how Michael's innocent, I think he's ready for that weight to be lifted off his shoulders, because I've never blamed Jordy. I've always blamed his father. And so I would love to talk to him.
Brian. Here, up here. I have somebody. So can we go to the next question? I have somebody here who would love to ask a question.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much. I would like to ask Taj about your documentary. I heard through the grapevine you're doing one. And in what time can we expect it?
The goal is definitely this year. I mean, that was the thing. It's interesting because the hard thing for me is I see things coming down the pipeline that you guys probably don't see in terms of, I knew about Square One before it was called Square One. And so it was, you never want to retread stuff. Like things changed once I saw Square One because I was like, okay, I don't have to cover certain things as much as I thought I did in that way. And so it's ever changing, but at the same time, 2020 is, as I said, is the year that I truly believe that things are going to change, and that's the year I plan to drop this. And sooner than, when I say 2020, I'm not talking about like December. I'm talking about mid-2020.
You've got time.
No, but I'm anxious. Yeah,
Okay, but then there's also afterwards a question here. So.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Yvonne Kemper-Wolfs. I have a question for Danny. And I would like to say congratulations with the fantastic result. It's really amazing. Congratulations, all of you, really. It's a big, this is doing justice to Michael and his family, because you're all victims of it. And I have a question that doesn't really have anything to do with Michael being guilty or not. I was just wondering, do you know the psychiatrist, the German man, who was drawing his conclusions? And I'm not defending the mistakes that Joe, as a father, has made. I'm a mother of 3 children, and every parent knows that every parent makes mistakes. And, but I was wondering, the psychiatrist, did he draw his own conclusions, or did he speak one-to-one with Michael? I'm not defending mistakes, but I just want to know, because the man is talking to the world, and I am wondering, did he talk with Michael?
Right, I think the scenario was after the second allegation, or after the Martin Bashir documentary.
Yeah.
There were all sorts of news circulating that Michael Jackson was guilty. It's
Yeah.
basically kind of the situation that Josephine was in. And he, at that point, thought he was guilty. He studied the documentary, he studied Michael Jackson biographies, and I think that it's an independent conclusion that he came with, not through one-on-one interactions.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic, of course. And I did not have my doubts, but I did want to make the question because I have a strong feeling. Yeah, do you understand me? Yeah, I have to. I've been a fan of the Jacksons since the early days. I'm turning 60. I grew up with your uncles and with Michael and all of you. And I've worked, I don't believe it myself, for Michael's Heal the World office in London. So that's really something I'm proud of. This is very important. Joe Jackson fell victim to the same filthy industry as Michael himself. And I have a great feeling for justice. I worked at one of the most recommended lawyers' offices here in the Netherlands. And I feel a great urge to defend Joseph today and Catherine, because Joe, I've met him many times. He was a very, very sensitive man. He made mistakes. We all know that Michael was very scared of him. But if we cannot even find the truth today in this sick world, what Michael called it, a sick world, which is run by pedophiles, not Michael Jackson, but they blame him for the things they are guilty of themselves. That's what they do. And how could Joe in these days know in which dirty rabbit hole he fell, and he became a victim of the devilish entertainment and media industry himself as much as Michael. I believe that, and I love your grandfather till the very day. He died as a Christian, he was buried like a Christian, and still today many people who are, I need to say this is very important, 1 second, yes, but I have to say this. Joe made mistakes, but until this very day, many people in the media and the entertainment industry make bad mistakes as well, until this very moment.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Your point is well taken. Okay. Thank you.
We have a next
question.
question.
We're going to go to this question over here.
Gentleman over here. You know, I think in that context, 2019 has been a year in which a dark face of Hollywood has been revealed, like with the Weinsteins and Epsteins and everything. And in the document, there's an email from a person that says, okay, I'm going to back off. I'm going to stop communicating about this matter. Did you face a lot of trouble like that? And in specifics, Josephine, did you face any negative reactions from you being part of this documentary?
The reactions that I received were overwhelmingly positive. There were some people on Twitter who were skeptical, and that's fine. That's their right. Professionally, knock on wood, I haven't had any blowback. When the trailer dropped, somebody, perhaps it's a coincidence, but somebody did hack into my website and make it inoperable, so that was interesting. But you know, the person who actually wrote that email was a classmate of mine, and she was very worried because a company that she works for represents one of the companies that was a player in the documentary. And, you know, anytime you're in the entertainment industry, it's very dicey. You have to walk the line in terms of, you know, saving your own career versus, you know, going for what's right. And she's somebody who is very much about justice and righteousness and all those things. So not criticizing her in one bit, because she also has to make a living. But you're hard pressed to find other people who are willing to speak up.
Brian, we have 10 minutes left, so can we go to the last questions?
Of course.
Hi, I'm Shireen. Sorry for my voice, I'm a little bit sick still. I just want to thank you all for making this documentary, because even though social media is out there and you can find a lot on YouTube, it's a cluster F. If you type in Michael Jackson allegations, you don't know where to start, and you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. So thank you for making this, because now I kind of have an idea of what was going on, and I've always believed in his innocence. Thank you.
I also wanted to just add on to that. You know, I know a lot of praise has been coming our way for doing this documentary, but you know, it's because the fans have been looking through the court documents, researching the case for decades and decades, that I could just you know, look through their resource and kind of pick out what I like and apply my own skill set to it. So without the research, the foundation that the Michael Jackson fan base has laid out, like projects like this wouldn't be possible.
Yeah, there was when the Sundance hit, a couple cousins and myself, we were talking about maybe going to Sundance, but we didn't want to bring more energy and more eyes to this to Leaving Neverland. But there were fans that actually went and transcribed it, and I used those transcriptions when I went to the UK, and I hadn't even seen the documentary yet, but because of those fans, I had a fighting chance when it came to those interviews of knowing what they were talking about. So I'm ever grateful for the fans, and I thank them because you guys are everything.
All right, thank you. Yeah. Okay. One question from me, Danny. Do you think this documentary changes minds?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Have you heard that? Have you gotten that feedback? Like, I came in thinking, of course he did it.
100%, 100%. I've been getting messages since the day it's dropped. You know, I've had journalists who tweeted how they have no idea how to feel about it now, or how they're just they feel bad that they thought he was guilty. Pardon? Right, a Washington Post journalist who I actually know, like, from her work, not like personally, actually tweeted about it. And, you know, so, yeah, I believe it's definitely going to change some minds.
Thank you. And we're going to go to our one of our last couple questions.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mark. I'm from Amsterdam. Well, thank you for answering all the questions so far. I'd just like to know from Jenny, I think everybody would like to know, how was he? So.
I mean, I don't know if I'd do it again. I'm just joking. He was absolutely the most amazing human being I've probably ever met. And human being, not musician. Yes, of course, that too. But I've met him many times. It just so happened the one time I stayed there. And he was just so giving and so caring, and he was asking us, we had a hotel this night, and he told us we could stay there, and I mean, anything we wanted, just, you know, he told his staff, it's what Carolyn said, I'm friends with her as well, but it's the same thing. And just being around him, if we were ever just hanging out around the hotel where he was, he would come out, he would stop his limo every time, if it wasn't like a big group of fans, but he would talk to us. Every single time he would talk to us, he would, I mean, about everything. We would be at the hotel and security would be mad at us and tell us we had to go, and he would yell at the, well, not yell, but he would tell security, like, they're not leaving, they're my friends, and he would tell them that, and we were able to stay on this property. And he really, I think, I mean, besides his family, we have been there for him from day one, and like Taj said, and you know, it's not the music. I didn't want anything to affect the way the world sees him as a person, as a humanitarian and as a person. And we need to try and get that part out more than his music. Is it amazing that people are listening to his music? Yes, but he's done so many other things. And when you see, like, when I saw him with other people and like kids and I mean, the most kind person. And when on June 25th, the world lost an amazing person, and it was better on June 24th, 2009, this world was, so, yeah.
We're going to do the group picture now. Or do you want some more questions?
I would like questions.
Questions? All right.
Overtime questions.
Overtime
okay.
questions.
I'm Sophie from Belgium, and in 1983, Michael was going through a really tough time, but he still came to visit me in the hospital during my liver transplant. So he was amazing. He saved my life because thanks to the Make-A-Wish and my professor, who is very well known, and Michael contacted him, they found a match for me. He taught me the song Smile. I never knew it, heard it before. We sang it together. And since that day, I teach my daughter the same song. So thank you, Mike, for saving our lives.
It's a beautiful story. I have a question over here. I'll give you the mic.
Well, I don't really have a question, but I just wanted, sorry. My name is Sandra, I'm from Holland. I just wanted to say, like, for Michael, what was really important was he wanted to change the world and heal the world. Don't cry, because then I start to cry. So, but for him, that was so important. That was probably more important than himself. And everyone is saying, you know, we want righteousness for Michael, but it's even more important because it's also righteousness for his message. This is what he wanted. He wanted to heal the world, and he wanted to change the world. And all those people who want to stop that, they wanted to stop Michael. So just thank you very much, Ange.
Sorry, Mark. Do we have time for one more, or you want to round it up?
We can't get enough of it.
The very last question of the afternoon. Hi, yes, thanks.
Hi, guys. I think, sorry. Hi, guys. My name's Suzanne. I think this should be seen by everybody worldwide. And my question is, how can fans help to spread this on social media or anywhere else? What can we do to help to get everyone to see this?
Who would like to take this question?
Spread the word.
Share it widely on social media as much as possible. Share it with your local media. It's, you know, wait, what would you, I'm sorry? Oh, guerrilla tactics here are really essential because we don't have a Hollywood machine behind us at the moment. But, the more people see it, Taj has said time and time again, this is the only situation where the more you learn, the more innocent Michael looks. So, just share, and here's Danny.
And I would say too, if any of your local news runs any kind of story about Leaving Neverland or anything, just send them the link. Like, just send them the link with a little description. And I mean, that's what you can do. I mean, that's a big help.
Right, and I just want to add, obviously, this is a new cut that no one else has seen. So when we release it on the new streaming platform, we could generate a lot of hype, whether that's through social media or just in person, just through that launch. So keep your ear out for when that will be released.